I realised as I watched that video back where I was taking a long time to get to the point, which can often be a habit of mine. But what I realised was that I hadn't actually answered the question properly or directly on what is the relevance of the lost word today. The specific relevance is to do with this whole idea of lost in translation, of where everything is getting translated, and often it's at a high level where we hear through the media or through governments as to what's going on elsewhere in the world or what other people are talking about, and we're not having that direct experience ourselves. One of the biggest problems for humanity is that there is nothing that we agree on, not one thing, because of our different languages. Everything needs translated. The significance of the lost word is that it is one thing that all humans can agree on. And what will prove whether it is the correct lost word or not is that it is agreeably to all of us this correct term, and it shouldn't need translation. If we can have that one thing that we agree on, then that becomes a foundation for something else. What that thing is, I don't know, we've not achieved it yet. It's to do with a new order of interaction. This is why the word God and things like that have been referred to as the cornerstone. They are the cornerstone of our framework of the world. So when we change the cornerstone, everything in our society is based on this idea of God. Whether you realise it or not, you have a look in the American Constitution, the British monarchy, all the monarchies all over the world, well, in the West anyway, all have at the beginning something about under God, or blah blah God, or in the name of God, in the year of our Lord, whatever. So it is the cornerstone of our society. It's the cornerstone of our mental reality. When we change that, even a little bit, everything else changes. It's like the Leaning Tower of Pisa. If you go to the Leaning Tower of Pisa and you change the bottom stone a little bit, one of two things happens. Either it falls down, or it's corrected. This is the significance of the lost word today, and the reason I started referring to Judaism, Islam and Christianity as being battering each other and all the rest of it, and not having this shared terms, the lost word, which you'll now know is goo, is the thing which can bring them all together. And this is the whole point. The word religion means that which brings together. It comes from the Latin religare, which means to bind together or to bring together. And there are no religions in the world which bring together. Every single one of them segregates because they say, I am this, you are that. Some of them will say, I am this, and it's fine that you are that, thereby not claiming to cause any tension, but there's still an exclusivity there. When we have this agreement that the lost word is goo, and that we are goo, and that we live in goo, and that we are all the goos, or the Jews if you're going to use the term G softly, so instead of G-O-O hard G, it's G-O-O soft G. So if we are the Jews and we are the goos, then there is no disagreement, there is no difference at a very foundational level. What we have is an agreement on a referent for everything. If we can agree on that, then it doesn't matter what else is different. Everything else will then fall into place. How that will play out, I don't know. That's something that we all do together. This really is quite paradigm shifting stuff, because if you change the cornerstone of reality, then the whole of reality changes. And the more you explore goo, and the more you look into goo and the implications of it, where it's referred to in the Bible, as in when we change the word God for goo, and we suddenly start to see the significance of certain things, like understanding the number of the beast, and like understanding certain things about the Jews who are not Jews, and things like this. It all starts to become a lot clearer. And this is not airy-fairy, woolly, ephemeral stuff. This is practical, it's grounded, it's reasoned, it's intelligent, and it's the very essence of what religion was meant to be, and that is something which brings people together. But I'll say a lot more about that in future videos. I just wanted to respond there because I realised I hadn't answered the point as to what the relevance is. The relevance is massive. It's about reintroducing the original binding force, the original thing which slips between our differences and overcomes our differences, because we can disagree on everything else. It doesn't matter what else we disagree on if we all agree that we are goo. And that's the point. Most of the major wars, yes, have been ideological, but at their roots lies something religious or some kind of religious connotation. Hitler wanted to wipe out the Jews, religious. The Crusades, horrendously religious. Islamic wars, religious. Yes, they've got political bias, but even politics has arisen out of religion. And if we correct, this isn't replacing religion. It's not a new religion. It's correcting religion. It's correcting something which has become horrendously distorted and flawed. And if you look at everything else where awareness is growing in the world at the moment, politically, socially, in business, all that's happening is all the errors, all the cracks in our mental frameworks are coming to the surface, and we're looking at them and we're going, wait a minute, that is not as clean cut as we thought it was. Actually, there's something corrupt in there, there's something bad, there's something leaning Tower of Pisa about it, and it's a house of cards all waiting to fall down. This is what we're seeing in the economic system, we're seeing it in the political system, and my work is about showing how it's in the religious system. People have accepted that the religious system is falling over and people are walking away from it, but they don't know why. And my work is about showing how it's because it's fundamentally flawed. It is a leaning Tower of Pisa. People can feel it, but I'm not here to wipe out everything about it. It's about healing it and correcting it and making it what it was originally meant to be.